our way back from the Wolfer Summit in Idaho. Put together a few clips from a bunch of the demos and took some pics, and we're making our way back. This is not Idaho. This is western or eastern Montana. This is called Cut Across Road. This is where Google told me to go. So let's go see where it takes us. Enjoy the video.
Wolves around bait. They seem to be a little bit skittish. I've had wolves numbers of times come by a pile of roadkill bait, and it takes them 2 or 3 times of passing by before they're comfortable enough to actually hit the bait. Now, I know guys, we've got some members that are very good at baiting wolves and snaring them, and they're very productive at it. What happens, from what I can tell from reimbursement requests being sent in, is they go long periods of time without anything, and then they'll knock down 3 or 4 wolves at one time, and then they're done there. A lot of time, once those 3 or 4 wolves are caught, it seems that they don't catch any more wolves for a period of time, and then when they do catch, it's in another drainage or somewhere different. So I'm on top of my box and everything else. I'm trying to get my snowmobile down the road without them falling off, all the things. This little gadget right here doesn't work. Sets that trap. I can only put about a half a dozen of these guys in my little Rubbermaid tote that I carry all my traps in after they're clean. You could stack a dozen of these in a little box, and it would take up very little space. Start out here and find somewhere where I know the wolves are traveling and stuff. I'll look. I in an eyeball. I just yesterday. Something that stands out. If we walk over this way. So I'll have quite a few pairs of gloves with me usually.
Do you have a preference on which way you want your trap?
Not really. I grew up water trapping, and you always said that water trapping where they step through the draw like this. But I started land and trapping really deep to where I was studying it other than as a kid trying to catch a coyote, not knowing what I was doing. I was wanting to step over the loose jaw, and I started setting them that way.
I set whichever way the trap fits.
Can you hear me? So I'm running basically 2 presentations today. I was a federal trapper for about 7 years. I'm actually working privately for ranchers now, doing the same thing I was doing before. I have taken 64 wolves, which as much time as I put in, I wish it was more than that, but anybody that's chasing very long, you know, they catch on to things. When I worked for the government, I was able to run thermal well before anybody civilian side was able to use it, so I had a lot of experience with it before. As far as coyotes go, I've shot probably close to 1,000 coyotes with thermal. I'm sitting right around, I think it's probably right around a dozen or so wolves I've shot with thermal. And I'm gonna talk about night hunting. I mainly work all private property for ranchers that are having depredation problems. And that's kind of a unique situation. Anybody can do what I am doing, but most of what I'm gonna talk about has to be on private land until November 1st.
Strap it together and try filming at the same time. Doing that. It just hooks on the ears of the trap, and I think you're going to do a demo on this tomorrow, so I'm not going to worry about it. Once it's all hooked up, you just slide it over the jaw, put that down there, and pull this lever, and it takes the trap off. Super, super handy. I think everybody ought to have one of those. A little heavy, keep it back to camp, go back and grab it later. You got something, you don't need to carry that with you. Same situation. No cows. Bulls are running down through here. Not wide. So that's probably about right. If you're burying a drag, you gotta dig down about that far. Get our nasty stinkies out of there, they're gonna turn into dog food. Pretty sneaky. So, public road. People are driving by, we got wolves right here. You don't want that son of a bitch standing right there for the next 100 to blow a big old hole in. It's a drag. It's already set, so I don't have to go through the monkey and do this. Black sand is kind of weatherproof. I still, in the fall and winter, I run a little bit of snow melt in with it too. It is real hard on your traps, so get your traps to rust. Keep that dirt working.
Do you mind going over that later? I watch your videos as well, you know, and you're trying to hide it, and putting in layers and too, but if you mind recapping that, winter coming.
Making the dirt.
Yeah, with your snow melt, you know, not like a rock dirt, but just the layers.
So I just layer it. So underneath the trap, before I bedded the trap, I'd put a little bit of snow melt. Bed the trap down in it, put my pan on, do initial cover, a little bit of snow melt. Another thing out dirt, a little bit of snow melt. I just keep doing that until I'm blended where I want it to be. And the last layer, I don't use any snow melt at all. My head, I think, heat rises, right? But you shouldn't have to put it on the very top. Could be wrong, but you can see it. If I can see it, we'll see it.
When Justin, maybe a little background on why I'm here. A couple weeks ago, I seen a Facebook post or something that was advertising this, and I'm, wolves. It's something that I do all my research, or try to do as much research as I can to find out about. So I picked up the phone, I started calling people, and they put me in touch with Justin, and Justin and I started talking, and one of the main things that I've been looking for the past few years is I want to find somebody that can tell me that they've had success with calling wolves and they can repeat it. They can go out day after day or week after week and repeat it on calling wolves, because it's something that I have zero success with. My success rate with calling wolves is less than zero. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, sorry. It doesn't work for me. So Justin and I got talking back and forth, and he asked me, what we did, and we kind of told him what some of our numbers were and what we've done over the past few years. And he said, well, hey, would you like to come speak at this thing? And I said, no, I'd like to come learn at it. And Well, here I am speaking, so I don't know what perspired in between that, but here I am. So, as you see up on the slide, 5th generation guide. I grew up in the East Coast. My family, long before me, were guides. Anything you're gonna do, if you think hauling a deer out and tying it to a pole, or, I had a trapper last winter tell me, I don't know why you get all these wolves in your bait site. I got a bait site and it's all snared up and I can't get any wolves to come to it, and you're at the other end of the lake and they won't leave it alone. I said, what are you doing? He said, well, I get a roadkill deer, I take it out, I cut a hole in the ice, I stick a pole in it, I wire the deer to it. And I said, oh, there's your problem. You just wired the deer. What we found is anytime we put wire, cable, some of the stuff I put out in the beginning was, I put a snare around the deer and snare it and tie it to something so it would hold it there. And I found it took 3 times as long for the wolves to go to that as if I could figure out a way to get the bait there so there was nothing wrong. So what we've come up with is I buy used 45-gallon plastic drums. We take them off to the butcher fills them full of butcher scraps. We fill them full of water, we let them freeze. And one thing we've learned about the water, we learned that water out of a lake or natural water will work. Water from the city won't. So I live just outside the city of Edmonton. I got an acreage for Sherman Park actually. And we have a cistern, so we get our water delivered. We don't have good well water, so we delivered. In the first year I started filling the barrels out of the water at the house. And the wolves were more skittish than the few that I filled out of the lake. And what our conclusion is the chlorine that they put in the water and we were putting it in the barrel was keeping the wolves away from it. That the water we were using out of the lake, they weren't smelling that chlorine in it, and they were eating that butcher scraps a lot quicker. So we fill these barrels up, plastic barrels, fill them up. When we get them filled, they're about 300, 350, maybe 400 pounds. Let them freeze, load them on a sled, just like we have here. Haul them out to the field. When we get them out there, we just lay them down, take a power saw, and we sacrifice the barrel. We just split down both sides, split across the bottom, take an axe, beat the 2 sides off the barrel, and now we got a 350-pound popsicle. Year 1 is a lot of times in year 1 we couldn't get into our blinds. We set blinds out in an area that if we tried to sneak into it and the wolves were there, we couldn't get in to get a shot at the wolves. So we paid a lot of attention in year 2 to put the blind somewhere that we could come from the back. So I'm going to imagine that this opening that we're tenting in right here is where I want to put a bait pop. And I know out back out here is all heavy timber. There's no houses, there's no roads, there's no anything out back. But there's roads and there's infrastructure, and in my case, there's oil infrastructure in the front over here. So I want to egress from over here. I don't want to go back there. I want to leave back there all to the wolves. I want them to be comfortable back there. I want them to go back there in bed. I don't want anything back there. So that's nine wolves that I could see, 9 wolves that I could count that morning. And that went on for at least 45 minutes. So we typically have the hunter in the stand an hour before daylight in the morning. We got in there, we sat there for 5 minutes or so, and then I thought I heard something, and we knew they were there because they had been there the night before and we'd seen the tracks. And that went on like that for 45 minutes. And I don't know how long it would have went on, but obviously a 300 short mag, shooting 3 of them, put stuff. But they didn't stop though. When they went off in the bush, when I came back with the snowmobile, and it probably took me an hour and a half to get back, I could still hear them way off in the distance. I could hear another pack answering them way off in the distance.
You guys kill wolves on the track?
For use outside of the winter conditions that I have to trap in for my seasons. And long story short, I had 4 wolves pull their feet out of MB750s during the same time slot. I also had multiple wolves trip a trap that didn't hardly even catch them. I had one wolf pull its foot out of the trap right in front of me with my pistol in my hand and watched it run away into the timber. And during the month of December that year, I had 18 wolves stand on traps that did not fire. I wish somebody had told me to buy bigger traps, because my wolf trapping career would have started out completely differently. What that left me with was educated wolves that had already been in a trap at a set that my scent was present at, and in areas where all of my different lures that I had put out were present at. And from those days forward, for numbers of years, those wolf packs would avoid the areas that I had those instances would be successful. Most people know my favorite set, barring anything else, is a planted pea post. If I can plant a tree in the ground exactly where I need it, and spray it with coyote urine and get wolves marking it earlier, long months before season opens, I feel like it can be really productive on those sets. Obviously, if you find their pea post and it's in a position that it's settable, that is number one. But the other thing that I want to share is having a dog on my trap line. I firmly believe that my 2 chocolate labs have killed way more wolves than I have. So that's what I have to share with you.
I'm Travis Latier. I'm from just a couple hours south of here. And I grew up water trapping. I did very little land trapping before I started trapping for wolves. I mean, I messed around a little bit as a kid trying and catch a coyote or 2, but I basically had just been a water trapper. And when I started trapping the wolves, the one thing, the patience. And it's I knew, but knowing and really knowing are 2 different sets. Today in my demo there is a natural pea post. It's not the set that I make the most because there's only so many of them out there where you can set a trap, but it's my favorite set, bar none, is one of their pea posts. And then from there you gotta have more traps out than you can find in them. So I make a bunch of other sets that work out something.
I'm from Southwest Montana. Something trapping wise that I guess I was very spoiled through my trapping career. I started a water trapper, I trapped my whole life. I got into coyotes, predators, but I really don't have anything that I could say I wish I would have known, because starting my wolf trapping career, I was neighbors with and good friends with and partners with Andy Weiser, and so he pretty much set me up straight from the beginning. So I don't really have anything to add on that, but what I really do have is I really wish from a hunting side of things that it took me a long time to figure this out, but patience when you're encountering wolves, when you finally have the opportunity to harvest. It took me quite a while to figure that out, but there's a lot of missed opportunities by not being patient.
All right, I'm Joe McGillivray. I'm out of Western Montana. When I first started trapping, when trapping started in Montana, I think in 2011 or so. I've been a hound guy my whole life, so I didn't know anything about trapping, but I wanted to kill wolves. I did about everything wrong right off the bat. Used too much scent, and basically what it comes down to, I think, is keeping it simple. I do flat sets, urine sets, blind sets, and then some dirt holes. But I keep everything super simple, and I use a dog. My dog, he's 100%, he makes it for me. My favorite set is a urine post.
Now I hand it to the guy that's never trapped a wolf in his life. Perfect. That's why I sat clear at the end. So I would say, as a majority bang for your buck, best quality trap at this point is probably going to be an OBS for the money that they cost, lack of issues that we have. Hearing the stories about pullouts and frozen traps and all that. That is for sure probably the top, and then the Duke 850 follows that pretty close, and then after that we step up the cost chart by quite a lot. As far as what I've heard from customers, I would say the first thing, especially with the early on, I call them the new kids, when we got our early season, everybody was like, I'm gonna go catch 6 wolves. And I'm like, I tell you what, if I sell you 6 traps and you catch 6 wolves, I want pictures of every single one of them, because I'm gonna put posters all over the place. You're ambitious, and I like that, but I think as far as people starting out, a lot of folks don't understand the time and the money and the effort and the fuel and the labor and the late nights and the cameras and all the gear. And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of time invested. And These guys work hard at it. Everybody that's been doing them, you guys know what kind of time you have involved. And financial interest in it is quite substantial at times too. As far as favorite sets that I've heard from customers, I'm gonna have to ditto on Gary. Daniel Peters is kind of my go-to guy, and he, on average, I would say between snares, which I would somewhat consider a blind set depending on the situation, kind of like Gary was talking, if they're ducking through some brush or whatnot. And with his traps, I bet he's pushing probably close to 80% blind set.
So if they're coming through this way, yeah, so they always plant their foot right here. You want your dog, even if you right in the spot. So that's like, I always set right there, right up close, right up tight. But I would set, like on this spot, since it's open, I would set a set here, I put a set here. Yeah, a lot of times he'll have both feet in the traps, and it's just a big mess here, but I mean, I've seen it where like I've set here, the dog pees on it, wolf comes back, and they just on the other side of it. I'm like, that sucks. Huh? Yeah, we don't do that, guys, around my place.
Right, it's not visible from the sky, it's back up. So you can use whatever amount of bait you want, as long as it's not visible from the sky.
What do you typically put for bait in there? What's your
Usually I take a piece of like somebody's smaller bear they didn't want the hide, and I'll throw the hide in there first, and then let them find that and do what they want to do with that, and then later on, I'll throw just whatever I got that's kind of stinky and nasty in there. A lot of times butcher bones or something will spread all over. They'll grab one and then they'll come back, train them to come back a whole bunch.
You usually put traps on drags in there, or you're staking them? Or?
No, I usually stake this one, and then I usually put a couple outside of it in one of these.
Have you had trouble with doubles like that, fighting with each other, fighting themselves?
I don't even know if
They can reach each
I
other,
haven't
don't you?
had them tore out, so
So you're looking to get those traps maybe 8 to 10 feet apart?
I would say at least 9. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
are those on real short
They're
chains?
on 30-inch chains.
So you block them a little bit, why would they just go in there?
Well, yeah, I block them. Like usually when I'm done, there's more pieces of wood,
Yeah,
and I'll
kind
just
of block.
do that kind of stuff, and make it to where it's easier for them to walk across the traps to get there with the leftover smoldering wood, which as it's smoldering. So with with good gloves, you just take this ash and you move it back right to here. You get this in wax dirt with wax dirt over it, and then with those good gloves, you grab that ash and you sprinkle it over the trap.
So that's all melt the wax.
It might melt it a little bit, but everything's already burnt in.
And I'll go about 1.5 times the width of that trap. And a lot of times if you're got some really duffy stuff or in some of this covered stuff, this is really easy digging even in the winter. But I'll come in like this. And then when I get out here, I know I'm always on a dirt hole, I'm always targeting front left foot, and that's usually my catches on them. And so I just, every one I make, I do left side, front left foot. And something that I think I messed up a lot early on. I was putting my trap too tight on dirt holes. And there's a couple benefits of setting yourself back. And so I'm gonna take this down a little bit here. So what I would do, get that down like that, kind of about this size, and then I'd get my auger. I'll do that at the end, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. But that's about, maybe even a little bigger, a footprint. But the key is, I really want them to step down on the dirt hole. I want everything to do, they're gonna get their nose in there, they gotta step into that dirt and get their feet down in there. So I like to kind of keep it very disturbed, mount your stuff back as you go. And then I'll come in here. Good. Step down. See, I put my anchor in the bottom. If you're really duffy stuff, running a drag. I run a few drags, but most every drag I run, I really like to. I haven't been doing this in a while. Most all the drags I run, I don't even know why I'm using them, because I end up just wrapping them around a tree. I mean, it works. And then kind of trenching that in around there. But what I would do, put your anchor in there, all that good stuff. And I'm getting this trap down in there. I'm getting it deep. At least, I'm talking at least 3 inches or so. I might even go a little deeper. 3 inches or so below the outside there. Just so there's a definite committal. And what I like to do from the point where they're smelling and back, I really like, I just kind of eyeball it, but I think it's about maybe 18 inches with your hand back. And then about 3-4 inches to the left if you're going for a front left foot. And I don't have much reason behind it, but I like turning, angling my trap a little 45, a little bit like that, you know. And then I think you have a little better kill area when that wolf's coming in like this. He steps here, steps there. And then the other great benefit, in my opinion, sometimes I run them 24 back, but almost if you watch tracks and you have a lot of coyotes and fox, almost every time they'll step over that trap, and their feet will be coming down here when they're checking that out, and not a lot of steps on that about 18-24 out. And it seems like just that first step for them wolves committing to this is really beneficial. And then
there you go. How about 200 and start me? How to get 200? You say 2? How now 3? How to get 2.5? How about 250? How to get 200.5? How 250? How about 225? 225. How now 2.5? You say 3? 310. How to get 310? Now 20. How to get 320? Now 30. You say 4? How to get 410? High 410. You say 410. High 410. You know how to get 410 bid. How to get 410? High 410. If I'm not bid, if I'm not 410 bid. Hit 4 high 410. You say 410. How to get 410? High 410. Who? Anybody else? 410. Last call. How to get 410 bid. Now you say 410. 400. You say 410. No, 410. How to get 410 bid nigh? Sold. $400 right there. All right.